Hi there, welcome back. My name is John E. I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. I have over 2 years of sobriety. I had the privilege of understanding my sickness and my disease in South Florida. I'm now in Arizona, and I wanted to share with you some of the things I've learned that I take with me on a daily basis to not only handle my sobriety, but to understand the of just a better way of living. Like my friend Pastor Ricky Goldman would say, a new design for living. These pillars remind me about the gift of desperation that I have that got me sober. That time is a funny thing and it doesn't exactly work the way I like it to, even though I feel like I understand it because 60 seconds are in a minute and 60 minutes are in an hour and 24 hours are in a day. But at the end of it all, that's all I have is if I'm lucky, I have a chance. I have a chance of making it today because of the lessons I've learned and from the people who've helped me. There's no turnkey solution for being a better person. If you want to change your life, if you are looking at uh, how unhappy you are, how much you don't feel value in your purpose, then there are options. There are options, and they started for me when I decided that I didn't want to be around anymore. I wanted to die. So I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. I'm a multiple suicide survivor. I have a laundry list of alphabets when it comes to my mental health. And today I have a chance, thanks to amazing people. I have a chance, thanks to my higher power, number one, and these pillars that remind me that no matter how bad today is, it's so much better than than the other times when I didn't feel like I had anyone. It's funny, I was in the gym today and I wrote down in my little notes, I have these little notes that I just kind of jot down, how when I was surrounded by the people that I love, I felt so alone. I felt so alone that I didn't want to continue in life. And now I have nobody around me and I don't feel alone. I think that's a really important lesson because my feelings about who I am, I can't rely on other people to justify them. Those same people are out there, those same people love me the way they did before. I just love myself in a different way now, and these pillars help me find that. So the third pillar, and I mentioned before, wisdom is plagiarized. These are probably not my thoughts. These are probably things that people way smarter than me or way dumber than me have already thought of. I'm just sharing them with you because hopefully you can find a way to relate. And it's to make no assumptions. Now, this and the first pillar, to take nothing personally, these two are twins. They're peas in a pod. When I make assumptions, which is quite often, I like to pass it off as prejudice or just judgments, just downright being judgmental when I see someone, when they enter my space, for me to say, yeah, this person fits into this box or this category in life. When it's just so toxic to myself to make assumptions. And it's really helped me with my resentments, right? My resentments are the number one most toxic thing that wants me to drink and wants me to do drugs and escape the reality of my life. And it's mostly because of the assumptions I'm making. And now people can lie. They can try to clear up the assumptions and they can try to lie. And I still have massive trust issues that I'm working on. And I think that has a lot to do with not making assumptions, because underlyingly, I'm so trained to assume that this person wants to engage me in a hostile manner, right? So, an example: I was at the grocery store, and I'm putting my stuff away. It's 115 degrees out here in Phoenix. In the car, I'm already grumpy. I'm grumpysaurus. I'm a little hungry, and I put my stuff in the car. I go over to take my cart back. Always take your cart back, people. And there's a guy in a construction outfit. Like, he has a hard hat. Like, he went to work, but he's in his second job at the cart station. Right. So he grabbed the cart from me. Says, "You have any extra change?" In the 5 steps that it took me from when I saw him to when I got to there, I'm thinking this dude, right? I'm already in my head with the negative thing. And I was like, "Nah, man, I ain't got no change. I didn't have any change. If I did have change, I'd give him some. But I didn't have any change." And he's like, "Oh, man, no worries. Thank you. I got your card. I got your card." I made an assumption that there was some kind of like a hostile interaction that was going to be happening between us, right? I took it personally that this man was waiting for me. Like I'm so special that he's waiting for me, right? Like, that's where my mind was. And the whole time, when I got in the car and I realized, how hot it is for this dude, he didn't have no water out there, nothing like that. That I had no place in making any assumptions for someone who's just trying to survive and make it out there. And there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us living paycheck to paycheck, living with family members that you have family members you can live with. Um, and there's a lot of us out there who are just doing our best. And the last thing we need is our fellow man or woman to make assumptions based on my own problems in life. And that's the thing, man. The more assumptions I make, the more problems I have, which I cannot turn into projects because they're not real. And now we're going into a space in my personal relationship of growth where my imagination takes over. I will be on my way to work making assumptions about who I work with, the people I'm going to meet that day, into this theatrical event in my mind that has me taking things personally, already has me problem solving how to make these problems into projects. And I've only gone 6 miles on the freeway, traveling 80 miles an hour. And then there's a part of my brain that says, you don't have to deal with any of this, Johnny. The part that doesn't want me healthy, the part that doesn't want me um, here for my kids, the part that doesn't want me to be able to help other people. It says, he's still here. The guy that tried to kill himself is still here. His volume is at 1 right now. And in that whole interaction on the freeway, I'll think all I have to do is just turn my car into the wall. Unbuckle my belt, turn my car into the wall. And you don't have to deal with any of this, any of it at all. And at that point is when I start to disengage in my thought process from being reactive and start to be, responsive. I start to respond to my own thoughts. And I tell myself, why am I taking this personally? This is not a project. This is not a problem. This is imagination. And I'm making assumptions about people who I mean, I don't even know what's going on in their day yet. Like I'm listening to music while all this is happening. And then I come to a conclusion that I can just end it all. Like, okay, this is how my brain works and this is why it's broken. So I would get locked into these patterns like that. And then they would just be on repeat, repeat, repeat. My ability to discern who wants to help me and who doesn't want to help me gets lost. My ability to understand that none of this is real is lost. And then I don't want to be with myself. I don't want to be who I am. I want to put a mask on and go out into the world because that mask is super comfortable because I don't have to deal with who I am. Now I disengage all of that with these pillars, and we're only on 3. This is how I disengage from my mind trying to kill me. And I say, Johnny, just get to work. Just get to work safely, man. Like, don't get mad at nobody out here on the road because I have a feeling there's quite a few people in their imaginarium on that road with me, literally on the road with me, on their way to work or on their way from work, or on their way to help someone, or on their way to just deal with whatever's going on in their life. I feel like we have a lot more in common than we may understand. And then I get to work and it's like a great day. Everything I had imagined, all the assumptions I made that I had taken personally, that I already tried to do damage control and turned from problems to projects, didn't even happen. Didn't even happen. A lot of people call this future tripping. And in order for me to understand future tripping, I had to understand how to disengage from this. How do I identify when it's happening so I can stop? Right? How do I cope with these things, these triggering thoughts, or a text message, or this or that? You ever get a text message and in that person's voice, in the attitude that they have, that they've carried with them their whole life, you read that text that way? It could be, see you in 10 minutes. They could be like, see you in 10. There's a Key and Peele skit about this, and it's 100% accurate. And if you have ADHD, you've already turned this off and are looking at the Key and Peele, and then you're never going to come back to this because now you're stuck in that loop of distraction. That loop of distraction is where my assumptions live. It's where my resentments begin to grow, begin to manifest into not being happy with who I am. See, that's the difference now. While I'm alone, I'm happy with the space that I acquire. I'm okay with, I've accepted the fact that this is a part of my life and this is my imagination, and I have to separate that and disengage from it at every possible moment that I can before it turns into something toxic for me. So just to recap, take nothing personally is the first pillar. Problems are projects. Second pillar. Third pillar is make no assumptions. I read these every day, and I still am not 100% on fulfilling these things. But then they start to kind of fall in place and help me. Just kind of get through these 20-minute segments on my way to work, on my way back from work, at the grocery store. Um, when I don't want to go to an AA meeting, I have a literal 1,000 reasons to go to an AA meeting, and I will still tell myself I will just go tomorrow. That's that part of me that's making the assumption that I'm okay. I'm not okay. A lot of us are not okay. And that's why we have to be there for each other. That's why we have to be kind and understanding. That's why we have to say sorry. When we come in hot, and we see it all the time, the Karens of the universe, they come in hot and they leave hot, man. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of all of those behaviors. And I have a chance today to not do that. And that's kind of what I'm pulling for. And I'm hoping you can understand that. So with that, we're gonna move on to the next pillar.